So it's been pointed out to me that I've missed several weeks of stupid commentary, and I must confess this is a tragedy, since these past couple of weeks have been among the most stupid in the history of mankind. But hey, let's make up for some lost time. Unfortunately, most of the Stupid in Seattle show is over now, since a couple of people got shot in the earthly paradise of Chaz. And for those of you who just can't understand how Antifa and Black Lives Matter failed at civil governance, well, here's an example citizen. Yep, using an orange peel as a COVID mask while demonstrating her karate moves and mental illness in the street. Gosh, I just can't understand how this experiment in self government failed. Well, it's not just retards in the USA, though. Nope. Here's Antifa in Paris, fighting fascism by attacking a car? Well, apparently the car belonged to a handicapped person. But hey, fascists gotta use wheelchairs too, I guess, right? Seriously, is France really in danger from fascism? I mean, this President Macron guy they got can't even keep his dog from pissing in the fireplace. Well, it's a good thing there's none of this nonsense in Germany. I've been informed by a very reliable source that Germany doesn't have any problems like this. Oh, what's that? Oh, never mind. Here's Stuttgart the other night. Well, the news on this rioting is a bit mixed. Apparently, it started with some kind of drug search in a park and ended up with 500 youths rioting and looting the city. Youths! It's an interesting term. Every time I see that, it's a warning sign. Something's going on. So now it's time to play everyone's favorite game. Name that German youth! All right, here's some clips from the video we just watched, and let's see. Who do we got here? Well, that looks like Hans. Yeah, that's Hans, I think. And here, that's Dieter. And let's see, who's this guy? Oh, that's got to be Harold. Yeah, that looks like Harold to me. And down over here, oh, must be Rutger. Oh, wait. There he is. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's Rutger throwing a brick there. And, oh, Carl. Yeah, looks like a Carl to me. And here's Klaus. Definitely a Klaus. Yeah, I can tell by that sunburn he's got there. And, oh, and little Herman over here. Oh, yes. Oh, those misguided German youth. Well, according to the police chief in Stuttgart, he's never seen rioting like this in 30 years on the job. I wonder what has changed in Stuttgart in the last 30 years. Gosh, I just don't know. So Donald Trump says he wants to remove 9,500 U.S. troops from Germany. And hey, they're not helping out with the riots, so why not? But Republican congressmen are saying, no, no, no. What about Russia? Yeah, right. Like Putin's gonna try to make a mad dash across Poland to retake East Berlin. No way, give me a break. And besides, it's not like Germany doesn't have their own army. I mean, there's some real badasses. Here's some footage of them in training. Well, back in the USA, the mayor of Olympia, Washington, who was videoed kneeling with Black Lives Matter protesters last week, well, things turned around this week. Her home was vandalized by, wait for it, Black Lives Matter. Yep, it's so unfair, whined Mayor Selby. And yes, I have to agree. Life is unfair. And it's even more unfair when you're stupid. Well, Democratic Senator and former vice presidential candidate Tim Kaine claimed, and I quote, "The U.S. didn't inherit slavery from anybody. We created it." No, not even close. The Romans had them, so did the Greeks and the Persians and the Arabs, the Chinese. Even Native Americans had slaves. And here's some more fun facts. Did you know that more African slaves were shipped to Brazil than to the United States? And yet, we never hear Brazilians moaning about the legacy of slavery. Why is that? And did you know that more Europeans were captured and taken as slaves to Africa than there were slaves taken from Africa to the USA? And yet, we never hear talk of African nations paying reparations to Europe. Why is that? And did you know that it was primarily the British who waged war across the globe to finally put an end to worldwide slavery? Oh, don't worry, neither does Tim Kaine. And when will people ever learn this stuff? Never. Not as long as government schools are run by anti-American cultural Marxists. Well, statues are getting knocked over all over the place because, the biggest problem facing America is statues. And once those are all gone, well, everyone will live in peace and harmony. God, I can hardly wait. Look, even George Washington got toppled and burned. Now, curiously enough, this was predicted by a very stable genius just a few years back. And up in Boston, they're talking about removing Abraham Lincoln because left-wing activists say it's offensive to black people. That's kind of strange since Lincoln supposedly freed the slaves. And the statue's been standing there for over 100 years, and it was paid for by freed slaves. But never mind the facts. It's all about feelings to some people, and honestly, the only feeling I like to see them get at this point is a boot up the ass. Even up in Canada, they're having at it spray painting John A. Macdonald. And look at this. Somebody put current Prime Minister's father, Pierre Trudeau, the former Prime Minister, they gave him a blackface paint job. Now, as you can see by the care taken here to keep the collar clean, this was no simple vandalism, but rather a bit of political commentary. And though I do not support the vandalizing of statues, I must confess, I find this one a little bit amusing. Police say they're on the case, looking for the vandals who painted this blackface on Pierre Trudeau. And that's interesting. As far as I can tell, police are not on the case for any other statues. That's kind of strange. Seems a bit racist to me. And to showcase their stupidity, Black Lives Matters desecrated a monument built to honor black soldiers. And yes, the 54th Battalion was an all-black platoon. And if you want, you can watch the Denzel Washington movie Glory. It was made all about them. It's a pretty decent movie. And anyways, the extra stupidity kicked in here in the comments. Now, when I say the Black Lives Matter vandalized this thing, and I say that, they were stupid or they were poorly informed, you pretty much know who I'm talking about when I say they, right? That's pretty obvious. Well, not to everybody. One person made a comment here. Horrible. They are so uneducated. And what do we have next? The internet thought police arrive. Please consider saying some, which is more accurate. They is generalizing. Thanks and hope you're well. No, they is not generalizing. They is referring specifically to the people who did this. That is the they, dumbass. Well, anyways, Little Miss Nice Girl went along with it. I believe the people who did this never knew the history, which is accurate. And then Miss Dumbass is here. I agree. Thank you for clarifying the they to whom you referred. Look, she did not clarify the they. The they was already clear. You are stupid. Do not comment on my Facebook wall again, or you're going on full blast, lady. You've been warned. Well, does it seem like I'm complaining too much about statues and monuments being desecrated? Oh, never fear. The leftist supercritic is here to point out my hypocrisy. Look, here we have a guy hammering a hole in the wall of the Berlin Wall. And what does she have to say? Bloody vandals destroying historical monuments. Dear Miss Dipshit, the Berlin Wall is not a historical monument. It was a prison camp. It was a wall built to keep people from being free, from escaping the shitty ideology that you want us all to return to. My God, I don't know how some people can be so dumb. It's unbelievable, but keep it coming. Well, the NYPD says they are going to disband an entire anti-crime unit. Now, that's kind of weird, because I was under the impression that that's what the whole police force was, that the police force was an anti-crime unit. Well, I guess at least when they're not extorting revenue from peaceful people for jaywalking or driving 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. Oh well, crime on. Well, it looked like the New York anti-crime unit had something to do when they went down to investigate a noose in Marcus Garvey Park that set off an outrage. Well, turns out the rope was left behind by a construction company 6 months ago. Move along, people. Nothing to see here. Oh, but never mind. We're just getting started with Noose Mania. Apparently, NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace found a noose in his garage stall, and he tweeted that he was outraged at this despicable act of racism and hatred. Wow, there were usual protest marches and from outrage from geniuses like LeBron James. And even conservative commentator Ben Shapiro couldn't help himself, saying that NASCAR must find the culprit and punish him. Well, the FBI was called in to do an investigation. Yes, the FBI, no less. And here's what they found. Yeah, that's the noose right there. Well, who are they going to hang with that? Like a leprechaun? Well, it turns out it's the handle for opening and for closing the door. You know, did you really need the FBI to figure this out? I mean, you could just look at it and figure it out. I didn't even have to look at it and figure out this was going to be bullshit. And of course, conservative commentator Ben Shapiro is back to gloat. Who could have predicted this insanely predictable development? Well, apparently not you, Ben Shapiro. And the somewhat annoying trend of corporate responsibility continues. You know how it is. Whenever something happens, every freaking company under the moon has to tell you how wonderful they are and what they think about it. You know, here's for example Amazon's audiobook company Audible telling us how we stand with Black Lives Matters in the fight for racial justice. Well, that's just wonderful. But I don't actually care. I just want to buy a book from you. You're not a moral philosopher, Amazon. I'm not looking to you for guidance. I just want to buy a book. And of course, there's no bigger corporate virtue signaler than Nike, who ran an ad last week urging people not to turn their back on racism and don't pretend there's not a problem and to be part of the change. Well, let's take a visit to the local Nike store to see how all this virtue signaling is paying off. So Planned Parenthood, the USA's number one supplier of abortions, has endorsed Joe Biden for president. Surprise, surprise. And they claim that it's a life and death election. You know, that might not be the best choice of words considering the source. And besides, it's a bit late to discuss aborting Joe Biden, isn't it? Or do these late term things now go up into the 70s? I have a hard time keeping track. So North Korea's playing hardball with their negotiations with South Korea. And they just blew up the office where they were meeting. Ha! Deal with that. In a more serious incident, there's been some hand-to-hand fighting between Indian and Chinese border patrol with up to 40 deaths between them. Apparently no guns are used because the soldiers aren't allowed to carry them. So they've been using clubs covered in barbed wire and nails. Well, I don't know. I don't know what it's all about, but my normal hope for peaceful resolutions is out the window, and I'm endorsing an all-out war. The sooner this escalates to nuclear, the better. So I somehow got caught up in Aunt Jemima Gate this week, the heroic effort to save the world from ethnic or historical brand names. Exactly how that is supposed to work or who is victimized by such things, I do not know. But Quaker says they're going to change the brand to something people can be proud to have in their pantry. And I gotta wonder, like what? Single black mother juice? Michelle Obama's social justice syrup? Oh, wait, I got it. Yeah, that'll do it. Antifa, eat the rich syrup. I can get down with that. But honestly, the whole problem with this Aunt Jemima Gate is the idea that there are people outraged about Aunt Jemima being retired. Like supposedly like me. Look, I'm not outraged by Aunt Jemima going away. I don't even like pancakes. Yeah, my life, like everyone else's, will go on without Aunt Jemima or Uncle Ben's or whatever. I don't care about that stuff. But what I do care about are the bunch of stupid heads who imagine that they're really doing something in the world by combating a cartoon on a bottle of pancake syrup. I mean, I am outraged that the world is now run by brain-damaged nincompoops with an overinflated vision of their own virtue. I'm not outraged about Aunt Jemima. I don't even like pancakes. And speaking of things I don't like, apparently the brain-damaged nincompoops are now going after the Masters golf tournament.
Guess why? Go ahead. That's right, because it's racist to use the word master, even if it specifically refers to people that have mastered golf. Yeah, like golf balls are really feeling oppressed. I mean, the insanity just never ends. And, I don't know. I'd like to see it end, but I don't know. Then I guess I had nothing to bitch about. Can't have that, can we?
Well, it's kind of nice to go through a whole episode without talking about the frickin' coronavirus, but somehow this one ended up being all about race, which is starting to get pretty tedious as well. And here's one last commentator, Alice Livingstone. No idea who that is. Until 3 weeks ago, she hadn't seen race. Blah, 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 blah. But now I see race. Oh my God. Oh, but don't worry, people. Don't worry. She's got an excuse. And no, I'm not white. I'm Jewish. What? Lady, look at your face. You white. That's like me saying, oh no, I'm not white. I'm Polish. Like, this is a weird thing. Historically, Jews have had a hard time with people picking on them and stuff, but silly little games like this ain't helping shit. So just cut it out. Keep it real, lady. And finally, we come to the end of this frickin' thing. Not that there was any shortage of stupidity to cover, and it's more coming in by the minute. But that's all I can handle for now, and I got other stuff to do, so I'm going to get out there and do it. Or maybe I'll just take a nap. But anyways, this does take a little bit of work to put together, and if you made it this far, I guess it was amusing or something. So give me a like or a comment or a share or something, you lazy bastard, or, why would I bother even doing it? It's a public service here. And, if you don't like it, then you're racist. So there. Haha, gotcha. Now you're trapped. Oh, yeah, buy Nike and Amazon as well. All right, peace out, everyone. Have a fun week. Don't be stupid.